Welcome back, everyone. It's me, Daniel, and I'm with Jeremy again. And today we'll do about Audacity.
Audacity.
Yes.
It's a free recording software, recording and editing software that you can download. I already said it for free.
Yeah. Again, like we said, everything we use is free, and you can do it at home. So we're going to go away for a brief moment. We're going to show you where to go to get Audacity, and we'll come back and talk more about it. All right? All right. This is Audacity website. It's audacityteam.org. And you can scroll around and read up to the latest release. And, of course, you guys wonder about how I download it. Well, let's go to Downloads. And if you're using Windows, go to Windows. If you're using Mac, go to Mac. Linux. You guys know the drill. So once we get here, we're at the download station area. You can read more about it. We've got alternate links and everything else. The system requirements. So make sure you read this. Make sure your PC can handle Audacity. I want to say all PCs can, because
Most can, unless it's really old.
Yeah, super old. But most kind of oldest PCs can handle it. Unless you got the original, then that's a different story. Then right here we go to Audacity 2.2.1 installer. Of course, click on it, and then save file, and then go to the whole idea of downloading it, installing it. You guys, like I said, you guys know the drill. Since we already got that taken care of, we're going to jump right into Audacity. So we'll be right back. Hello, we're back.
Hi.
So what I forgot to fail to mention is there's different ways to record your sound. Right now we're using the laptop in our mic. But Jeremy here is going to give you some examples of other mics that you could use if you need them.
And it really all depends on your recording preference. If you want a super clear recording, of course, you're going to have to get a more expensive mic. The laptop mic works fine for general recording. If you're not worried about sound quality, you're not worried about submitting your recording to somewhere to be like an audition or something, it works just fine. However, we do have a couple of other examples. This is a headset with a mic, and this will produce a slightly clearer recording because your mouth is really close to the recording, the microphone. And plus, you don't get the sounds from your computer coming through your microphone because it has headphones on it, and that takes care of that. But if you want to get serious, what I've been told, serious about podcast recording or recording in general, you need a mic that is a quality. This is a decent quality mic. It has a switch on the back for different settings, and that's when you know you're getting into real business there. So your mic has settings on it that aren't on the PC itself, but this has a setting for it records me only, or it can record both sides or the whole room. So those are some of the tools that you'll want to use. But again, if you have a laptop, to get started, your onboard mic would work perfectly. So now we can go to Audacity.
And I forgot to mention, not only going to talk about Audacity, we're also going to talk about podcasts.
Yeah, in particular podcasting, that's what I use Audacity for mostly,
Yep.
At least in my business here at the library. So
You should tell them about that.
Oh, my podcast?
Yes.
Okay. My podcast is called the Unconventional Library, and it focuses on non-traditional and unconventional items that libraries offer. For example, we have books. You may not know that we have Freegal or Hoopla, and Hoopla is where you can download and stream stuff from
almost any device.
From any device.
Android, iPhone.
And I think Google Cast has it. One of those, I'm not 100% sure. One of those has it where you can play it on your TV now. It's in beta mode, but they're rolling that out slowly. But we cover things like that because that's non-traditional. You don't think of libraries having stuff like that. And if you're interested in learning more about it, listen to my podcast. It's released monthly, and it's on SoundCloud.com/The Unconventional Library, I believe. If not, it's on Facebook. Go to our Facebook page.
And you really think about it, what we're doing right now relates to what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yes.
Completely. All right, so we're going to go bye-bye again, and we'll bring up Audacity to you.
All right. Well, Audacity, once you download and install it, an icon will appear on your desktop, and you'll double-click that, and it will open up to this screen. And it's a new project already. And so what you want to do to record a new track is you go File. Actually, that's to start a new file. File, New, they're open there. Tracks, you'll add a new track. For our purposes, a mono track works just fine. What that means is it records all sound on one. It's directly in the center. Stereo, if you watch movies and stereo sound has it going from left to right, and has all these effects for it in your ear. It's kind of cool. That's stereo sound. Mono works perfectly for a podcast unless you're wanting some kind of weird special effect thing you'd want. That. So what we have here, we now have a track that is blank, and we're going to record something, and we're going to record me talking about Audacity. So I'm going to click the record button, and you'll see that it is picking up. Those little lines are my voice being picked up, as well as other sounds in the room, and we'll get to that in a minute. Right now I'm going to let it run for just a moment of silence so I can illustrate something later. Okay, so that's basically what you do. That is the gist of using Audacity to record. Once you're through recording, you're going to hit stop, and your track is there, and it should play back. And you'll see that it is picking up. Those little lines are my voice being picked up as well. So there you go. So we've recorded our track, and let's say this was finished, a finished track. And you're saying, okay, I'm ready to submit this. But wait, sometimes there's a little noise in there that I don't want. One tool that I use, and it's one of the biggest tools I use in Audacity, is called noise reduction. And so what you're going to do is make sure that this is marked here, this selection tool, and you're going to hold the left mouse button down and select a moment of silence. That's why it's important to leave silence somewhere in your thing. So you're going to select a moment of silence. You're going to go to Effect, and you're going to click on Noise Reduction. And step 1, it says select a few seconds of noise so Audacity knows what to filter out. So you're going to get the noise profile, which then it will just disappear and do nothing. Seems like, oh, what happened? No, it did it. Go back to Effect, go to Noise Reduction. Actually, cancel. You want to make sure you select the whole track for this. Go to Noise Reduction, and you're going to reduce. I keep the default settings. It works pretty well. And not much happened because there's not a lot of extra noise in the room. Sometimes, though, right now you heard something kick on. That's what I like to reduce out of my podcast. So it won't sound much different probably, but we'll... And you'll see that it is picking up those little lines.
That sounds a lot different.
It sounds a little clearer, a little less ambiance noise, so it filtered out what we selected. And then comes, excuse me, comes the most meticulous part, and we'll get to that in a minute. Let me show you how to export a track. So you're done. You'll go to File, and you'll go to Export Audio, and it will have WAV, MP3, which WAV is what I use most of the time, or MP3. There is a chance that they may ask you to download something else for MP3. Sometimes Audacity doesn't download everything in its installation, and that should direct you to where to go to download that. But WAV is included. For simplicity's sake, I'm selecting the desktop, and I'm going to type test and save. And it will be mixed down and exported into stereo channel. You can add anything here. I generally don't, because it's not a song or for on an album or anything like that. So you hit OK, and it probably did it so quickly we don't know. So it will export it to the desktop, and then you can play the track. So now I'm going to go back and tell you a couple of things about podcasting as it relates to Audacity. One of the what I would call the most tedious part of podcasting is editing. And what editing does includes going through all of this and cutting out things that you don't want in there. Or let's say you start talking and you go blah, 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 which happens a lot to me, and you go off the track and you want to start all over. Well, instead of stopping the recording and starting again, you would just wait a moment. That could be your moment of silence right there. You'd wait a moment and then pick it up again to start where you left off, and then you would edit that part out later. And the way you edit is very simple. Let's say we didn't want this section here. We listen to it like, oh no, we don't want that. You select it with the selection tool and hit delete on your keyboard, and it takes it out.
Oh, that's really easy.
And it say, oh my gosh, I did too much. Well, you can either do Control Z or go to Edit, Undo, Delete, and it puts it right back in. So that is the most complicated part. That's the most time-consuming part, especially for me, because I and a lot, and you don't want necessarily a lot of those in a podcast. You want to edit those out. I leave a few in because they would know it's tampered with if I didn't leave a few in. But that is pretty much podcasting. One of the things is if you're doing different segments of your podcast, you'll want to record your items in separate tracks. So you don't want to come, if you're doing a part and then someone that's coming in later, you're going to record them doing an interview, you don't want to start on the same track. You want to do that in a different track. It's just easier to edit, to move it around. You don't have to worry about accidentally deleting stuff like I learned the first time that could happen, deleted an entire interview. So, yes, so that is crucial. And there's really not many other effects other than getting more advanced if you want to do equalization, which, does the treble and bass and all of that. And I don't really mess with that setting yet. And it's just, I never really need it because I'm not in a place where the microphone that I have is pretty good. So it does well in balancing that for me. So anything else I should cover, Daniel? Any questions you think your viewers might have?
Personally, I don't think so. But I would assume a lot of people will have some comments for us to answer.
Oh, yes. And if you have any comments whatsoever, feel free to reply to any place that this is posted, Facebook, YouTube, wherever that this is posted, and we'll answer it to the best of our ability. My podcast, I have usually roughly 8 to 9 tracks because I have music in it, and I like having segments where I can move the music around, and that way I don't have to worry about it all being in one track. So
how about you? Can you show me how? Oh no, I got one. Show me how to import a music track. Like let's say you get your intro for your jingle or your podcast. but you don't want.
Right. You don't
That's
want
right.
you want to put it in the project.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to import audio. You're going to go to File, Import Audio, and it will pull up different things. Let's
There we go.
do sleep away. Okay, it's importing that. There you go. It's imported it into our project. It's this track because it's really long, and then you can adjust the sound. And that's another thing. Sometimes you want if a track to be softer. In general, this is what we call this is the volume control for a track. It's not technically the volume control, but that gets into mixing and mastering if I start going into what gain is. But basically, left is softer, right is louder, and you don't want to go too much louder because it'll start spreading the sound on the track. But that's enough to get started. And then this will be, you can also mute it if you don't want it in there. You can also, if you have, like me, 10 tracks and you just want to hear one, you don't want to go through and mute 15 other tracks, you hit solo and it'll be the only one that is playing.
Okay.
And that, does that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Okay, that way they can put any input and move it where they need to move it.
Right. And let's say, I mean, Audacity is really user-friendly once you figure out. There is a time shift tool, move is what I call it, the move tool. It lets you move audio around. So if you click that and you click on any audio, it will let you move it around. And let's say you, for some reason, you wanted this track to be up here with this. This one. Maybe. There. It'll put it up there.
Eventually.
Yeah, you have to put an empty spot, and it has to spot that fits the track, but I don't want that together. So, but yeah, you can move it around and put it in any order.
Okay, can you cut them up?
Can you cut them up?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can take a segment if you like. If you only want the last bit of the song, you can select it and then hit Edit, Cut, and so you paste it. You want it there. There it is.
Okay. So,
and if you want the middle, if there's one part you really like in the middle, and by the way, you can zoom in and out. So if you hold the control button on your keyboard and use the mouse wheel, you can zoom in, or there is a zoom in function up in under view. And it will zoom in, so you can really, when editing, it's really good to zoom in really far because you get to see all those. I know exactly what my sounds like now, or looks like in waveform now. So I know when I say because it looks very distinguished on here, especially if it's So.
I gotcha.
But yeah, you can cut it, move it around, move it to different tracks. Not really necessary podcast, but there's a lot of effects here, and these are really, without going into too much detail, easier just to play with. Reverb makes it sound like it's in a hall.
So fade in and fade out. Too.
Fade in and fade out it's pretty self-explanatory. You can let's say I use that in my podcast actually on one of the tracks. I want it to start while I'm speaking, but I don't want it to be overpowering, and so I have a part of it selected. Say 10 seconds where I have it. Fade in, and so it will slowly get louder and eventually get to the full volume. You hear that on radio a lot, especially in commercials where they fade out and they're talking and they fade in to hear it finish the song. So you do that, and I also have it fade out at the end. It's the same thing of selecting part you want faded out and going to Effect and Fade Out, and we'll fade it out to no sound. So I'm not going to play this song because, there's a doorbell. I'm not going to play this song because I don't know what song it is.
I know it's legal for us to play it because it's one of the songs we use, the website that we use to get our music. the kids when they do their movie camp.
So there,
So
you see it, and if you want an example of the fade in. And you'll see that it is picking up those little lines. Great soundtrack to our audio there.
Oh yeah.
And then of course you always want to save. I guess you exported your audio, showed you to do that, but you all want to save project. And it's going to say, this is saved as an Audacity project. Are you sure? Yes. Because you want to export. You want to export to make it something that other people can listen to. You use export, but you always want to save the project. Giggles will name it test. So yeah, I've saved this project now, and then you can export it at any time. And there are a lot of other options that frankly, without getting into much technical detail, it's hard. It's best just to learn it. If people have specific questions, I'll be happy to answer. But anyway, that is it. That is it.
I'm out.
And again, if you have any questions, be sure to let us know. Oh, you're in now.
Killing myself here. But like Jeremy said, that's Audacity, and also some tidbits about how to use your make a podcast. Hopefully that answers some of you guys' questions about if you ever thought about starting your own podcast. I hope you guys enjoy that. And catch us next time for our next event. Well, not event, but next video. Alright, so we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.